could a 12.5 kg cylinder of cooking gas climb to 10,000 naira in Nigeria by the festive season? Cooking gas for a 12.5 kg cylinder has climbed from a little over 4,500 in December 2020 to just over 7,000 naira today in parts of Lagos and Ogun State. With the festive season around the corner, there are indications the soaring cost of cooking gas may extend beyond December 2021. So we're going to discuss that with oil and gas analyst Mustapha Wahab, who joins us from Chapel Hill Denham. Mustapha, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Rutus.
So am I being alarmist? What do you make of the rising cost of cooking gas? Can it hit that bar by December? What do you think?
So, I mean, I won't deny the fact that rising LPG, I mean, cooking gas price is one of the key, core of discussion in Nigeria today, be it on Twitter or any, public discussion. But the truth is that, I mean, it might not necessarily be as bad as people were painting the picture. So first of all is that, I mean, we checked, NBS's data recently, and what we saw was that, average cooking gas, price, across the country is roughly around 4,000 naira for the 12.5 kg cylinder. Okay. Right. And when we overlay that, versus, the price as at January, what I saw was that, price has risen by roughly around 8%, year to date. And I mean, that's not really outrageous in the context of things as far as the pricing is concerned in Nigeria. Because I mean, in 2016, cooking gas was going for around 3,500 for the 12.5 kg cylinder, but now it's around 4,500. That's roughly 22%. That basically means that most of the price increases were actually from this year, for obvious reason. So the key question then becomes, will it continue to rise significantly at this run rate? I think the question a lot of people are asking is whether it is going to touch that 10,000 naira level, right? I think that would probably be too far-fetched, right? Anybody forecasting that sort of number by the end of December, I'll probably consider that person as a recklessly, impulsive analyst, right? But I mean, since it takes close to what 4 years for the price to get to 4,500 from 3,500, in 2016, I mean, that's the way I'm seeing this.
All right. So the thing is, if you think about our gas reserves, yeah. Should we, and then of course, international prices notwithstanding, should we be doing better than what we are now with where gas reserves are?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think first of all, we should try to delineate one of the key, I mean, what are the key, factors pushing these LPG prices upward. So first off is that, I mean, we have, supply constraints in Nigeria. I mean, the last time we checked, domestic consumption of LPG is roughly at around 1.2 million metric tons, right? And NLNG supply roughly between 25 to 30% of that, and other domestic producers basically supply around 15%. That basically leaves imports, to sort of plug the deficit, right? I mean, the picture I'm trying to paint here is that import alone constitutes close to 40% of what we consume in Nigeria. I mean, that sort of exposes us, to that, vulnerability or shocks to external, exposes us to all those external shocks, right? But beyond that, you also see FGN, reimposing VAT, taxes on LPG imports in an environment where, we're not even self-sufficient in LPG consumption yet, right? So it sort of begs the question of why FGN will be doing that. I mean, the answer is probably because of the fact that they're trying to boost, domestic capacity for us to become self-sufficient as far as LPG is concerned. I mean, if this is sounding more or less like a deja vu, it's probably because you've heard it before in milk production, rice production, sugar, and whatnot.
Every other commodity you can think of.
This is what we do all the time.
Right.
But I think the key question then is, are we going to be self-sufficient in the nearest future? I think the answer is probably yes, right? FID on NLNG Train 7 has been signed. This Train 7 is going to add close to 35% increase to NLNG's capacity. And this would increase, domestic supply of this LPG that we so crave, in Nigeria. And I suspect that once the project, kick off, that will probably get us closer to the dreamland.
All right. So, and I was going to ask you about LNG wanting to come into the market June, July 2022. So this ties in with that. That's why the timeline is that way.
That's why.
Fantastic. I'll touch on oil, crude oil. We're looking at crude oil prices earlier. Almost, what, $85 a barrel? Yeah. When, maybe I'm not being impatient, when do we see that with where crude oil prices have risen, a corresponding increase in our reserves, dollar reserves?
So I'll give you some sort of comfort, right? Between end of August till today, reserve has grown by roughly $6 billion.
Okay.
We're now at $39 billion, now approaching that $40 billion level. Right, so this is not to downplay the impact of Eurobond.
I was about to say it, Mustapha. I was literally about to jump on you and say, wait a minute.
So I'm not downplaying the impact of Eurobond, $4 billion. SDR from IMF, about $3.3 billion. That's roughly what? $7 billion, right? So this is not to downplay the impact. But what I'm saying is that I think we're now starting to see the impact of rising oil prices on FX reserves, and I'll quote number to you so that will give you some sort of comfort. In Q2 alone, I think Brent rose by around 12% in Q2, and what we've seen is that Q2 oil export proceed in Nigeria has grown tremendously by about 95%, right? And what we know, I mean, Q2 to today, I think we're in Q4 right now, Abi. So before you start to see the accretion impacts of exports proceed on crude oil reserves or FX reserves, it typically takes anywhere between 2 to 3 months, right, before you start to see the impact on reserves. So I suspect that's why, you know, the impact on reserve has been lagging over the last couple of months, and that's essentially what we're seeing today. In Q3, oil price has grown by about 6%. We'll probably continue to see this sort of accretion. And again, you remember that FX reserve is a 30-day moving average, right? So I think between now and the next 2 to 3 months, we should be talking about reserves of roughly 45 to $50 billion dollar levels. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very quickly, OPEC, are they being too cautious with supply management because since price and demand is going up?
I mean, OPEC, you know, and the latest agreement is that they are going to be raising output by 400,000 barrels per month between, you know, per day, sorry, between August, September, and November. I mean, that's the latest agreement, right? So I don't think they're being too cautious. I mean, what you know is that, you know, the impact of, you know, OPEC crude supply curb is not really, you know, the key driver of today's oil price that we're seeing. I mean, you can think about Hurricane Ida in the U.S. that is curbing, you know, U.S. production. Hence the reason why we're seeing production at this level. I think OPEC are just being, you know, cautiously optimistic as far as, you know, production output is concerned. I don't think they are too cautious in that regard. Great
stuff. Mustapha Wahab, oil and gas analyst with Chapel Hill Denham. I'll bring you back in December, even before then, to see where cooking gas prices are in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.